Welcome to the last segment. It's Jason at Straight Line here. We got the Counterbarky Pro Stock 1000. Excited to get it on the dyno. Finally finish this project out. This has been one serious system, as you've seen, from the beginning to end. It's all together. We've got a dyno skid in it, ready to roll on the dyno. We've got handlebars controls. We got some neat little adjustments here. We've got some of our RSI controls that do ignition on here, water pump. We've got our fuel switch system on the side. It's ready to run. We've done a little bit of pre-fire on it, set a few things in the background, so we're ready to roll. Let's get it in there. Let's see what we got for some power today. All right, guys, we just put the sled on the dyno. We're just cleaning up a little bit and getting ready to go. We put some hoses on here. We've got water in and water out. So we're not managing the coolant. We're just actually just cycling it through on the chassis dyno here so that it cools nice and keeps it up and running. It doesn't overheat. We can make kind of a multiple pull on it. So it is on our chassis dyno, not on the engine dyno. It's over in the corner here. We are testing the CVT stuff. So originally, we talked a little bit about the engine that was in here. It was a customer supplied engine. The big difference is we did have to build pipes. So we got stampings, we fit the pipes, we set them in, and the carburetors need to be readjusted to set them up. So we have got the sled to fire. We've got it ready to go. We feel that we are ready to make some dyno pulls right now. So number one thing is we're gonna start it, check some idle, make sure it's good to go on the chassis dyno, make a few nice pulls, real clean, make sure everything's good. Right now, the customer doesn't have any data acquisition, and typically on the chassis dyno, we don't have something that bolts on. We use all the customer orientation. So at this point right now down here, I've got a couple solo AIM DL2s actually connected to it. We're doing some EGT, some O2, RPM. We're getting some data as we go along so that we can download all this in between runs and take a look at it. Then the customer will hook their basically data acquisition back up to it. So, I mean, we're basically ready to go. I think let's get in this, make some polls. I'm sure we're gonna have to make some changes and see what we got. All right, we got some baselines. Actually runs pretty good as a good start, but we got a little bit of kind of an issue, maybe carburetor clutching in the beginning, kind of pulls down a little bit, we can tell. Dyno looks pretty good. It's definitely gonna make some power, we can see that, but we're gonna get in some clutching, we'll get in a little jetting, we're gonna get this thing to run a little better. Let's get into it. Let's get into here and see what we got. So we did some baseline setups here. I mean, I've run a lot of thousands before. One thing that was neat about this project is we utilized the QRSs you've seen on the secondary. That's new, a little outside the box for us to run a Pro 1000 with a QRS. But we figured that clutch it's made some good power. It's worked really well. So in the past, we're going to give it a shot. And according to the dyno charts right now, we're pretty good. The baseline was not that bad, but I think we're going to definitely make some weight changes. We'll go through the weights, show you what we've got for a baseline, and show you the adjustments we're making. Do this once. So in the clutch here, we're using a micro primary full billet one. We're using our Straight Line 52 gram adjustable weights. Currently right now it looks like our baseline setup we're running. What's nice, we got 3 adjustments. So each one of these smaller bolts here, about 1.2 grams, and each one of these little washers are 0.3. So we got some adjustment in here. And then what's nice, in the center hole, we had a baseline of 1.2, and then we have tungsten, which is neat. Our weights actually come with a tungsten washer, so they're 2 grams a piece. So the availability in here is quite massive, actually, when you're looking at making some adjustments. So that's where we're at. Looking at the dyno chart and what we need, we definitely could be using some more weight. We're gonna make some adjustments in here, probably A couple grams on the base, maybe a gram on the tip is what we're looking at. Spring option's pretty decent. We're gonna start with that, make another baseline pull. I think we got a carb change, we wanna make an adjustment, and then kind of see where we're at going through here. So we'll get some pulls going and make some adjustments as we go through this. Before we put this together, we spent a fair amount of time. I mean, the main thing we're looking at too is belt shimming, getting the width right and getting the angle of the weight here. The distance between here and the roller, this is pretty key in here. Getting that exactly how I want. You tip it in, your engagement goes up substantially, tip it out, your engagement goes down. Plus the belt grab changes massively. So getting your spider location, and then we're also shimming on the inside. So we're machining these shims right here on this side and machining them on this side custom just for this application on this machine. One big pain in the butt in this entire project has been the carburetor from day one. You can't get them out without separating them. So, every change we've been trying to make here has been a battle. Separate the entire carb, pull it apart, and put it in. So jack shaft here has been really a pain, and no matter how we tried to align this, you could not get away with this project. So right now we'll pull them back apart and make the next change. We got to get in here and make a needle adjustment. We do have a main jet adjustment definitely by looking at all the downloads and a little bit of the pilot. The two-step stuff, sounds like the customer's gonna work in the field on some of that. We do have two steps set up for it. That will adjust a little bit on that pilot jet when we're on that two-step. But in here, we're making a needle adjustment. So you're basically just unclipping the needle and moving it. As you go down, raises the needle, which richens it up, and vice versa on the other way. So we're gonna be richening this up and putting it back in, give us a little more fuel on the bottom to get things going. So we'll make this adjustment, all three of them, and we'll get this done. The carbs we're working on here are actually some older MREs. They're honestly a little tougher when it comes to some of the old school carburetors you're dealing with. They do get wore out, the pins get wore out, tuning, setting gets a little tougher too. So we're kind of dealing with the cards we're dealt per se on this project. So far they've been working okay. It has taken a little bit of time before we got in the dyno room, like I said, to get them idling and get them set up, but now we're just down to some nice tuning issues that we've got. So by looking at everything right now, we're gonna have a pilot jet in here. We've got our main jet. So main jet itself looks pretty good so far, but I think, on the dyno we've seen many times, they're not quite as long as they're in the field. So we're definitely gonna do some richening up here so we can make some longer pulls. We're gonna be adding some fuel on the bottom end here with the pilot to try to get it to leave kind of similar to where we're doing the needle. So it looks like it needs quite a bit of fuel to get it up and going. So we're gonna make those adjustments and get it back on. Looks like we're running on our baseline here. You can kind of see 940 jet. So we're gonna be going to 980 now as a rule of thumb. A couple changes on these big carbs is pretty necessary, especially when we're dialing in. So we'll do that. And then I actually wanna do it, when I got it apart, we've got a couple other things. I'm gonna check this needle and seat on it, make sure everything's clean on each one of them we'll be going through. It's really important just to double check as we begin to run this through. Are the needle and seats good? Are they sealing good? We've done some pressure tests before we came in. Everything looks solid. We've also set an angle on here, which has actually got just a little bit of a positive on it. So you can see it's typically flat. We've got a little bit of an angle on there. And the reason why we're doing some of this stuff is these things have a massive harmonic vibration, especially when they're solid bolted. So you get foaming in the bowls and the foam kind of doesn't really shut it. So we're trying to help it pre-shut this bowl as soon as we possibly can. So just kind of something that we've pre-done when we build these together. All right, guys, we made some decent gains here. So kind of a quick look through some graphs here. We got engine RPM here, we got horsepower here. So you can see the engine RPM was kind of lazy through here, and you see the green, and then you see some power through here, and we see some more. So the big thing we were looking at here is we're trying to get rid of that bog on the bottom. We're doing the jetting, we've been going back and forth. We've definitely cleaned that up. You can see it's coming through real clean through here now. Power's definitely coming up quite a bit here. You know, we'll see what we can get when we push it now. We're getting close to the end of the dyno session, actually. I mean, things are really tuning easy, honestly. So the setup we've got, the weights, the controller, everything's good. I think we're gonna make maybe another Helix change a little bit, see if we can do that. And then I think we're gonna make a big final pull and see what we got for power. So let's try some more. So we're messing with the QRS here. It's a little different on the Pro 1000 that we've got, so something a little different that we're outside the box versus most guys are running cat stuff that's been around for years. So we've got a new Helix here. You know, we're going to take our second, third try. We're definitely getting that bottom end. That has kind of been the issue with this sled from day one, is it truly doesn't have a lot of bottom end, but it's got good power. Once we get on power, it looks great. So we're easing up on this Helix one step at a time to get this thing dialed into where we want to see it leave hard. So it's going to be in the snow. We don't want to leave too hard and blow a track out, but we want to stay consistent spin all the way through the power. So, you know, we got our second option right here. Let's give it a shot. Brody's got it. We're making some adjustments here. One thing we want to just give everyone a little tip on here that we see quite a bit is belt tension. A lot of times we hear on the story, hey, my ribs are an 1/8 inch up, they're perfect. Ribs have nothing to do with it. It might be a derivative at the end when you're done, but honestly, the tension of this belt down here is everything. So usually if you've got a brake on and you can grab your belt here, grab your belt right here, and you can try to spin it, and you can kind of see it move just ever so slightly. It is tight as can be. So they just happen to be this high. I could have this belt extremely tight and they could be down here. So the height is just a derivative of what ends up. It's not necessarily what you want to do. You want to run this belt as tight as you possibly can. You know, you don't want the machine to creep forward and drive away from you, but I mean, honestly, a little squeak here and there isn't going to hurt nothing. So especially on a race machine, we want it nice and taut. So that's what we're looking at. Let's get in, make another pull, and see what we have. That's what we're talking about. Now we're gaining some stuff. Let's go take a look, show you what we got. This is cool. This is what we're here for. So we spent a lot of time, I mean, there's 7, 8, 10 months. I don't even lost track of what we got in this sled now, but this is what it's for. So we've got a lot of dyno pulls, we got a lot of time. So let me show you this thing. Now we knew we were in the ballpark, hopefully, of a 260 horsepower engine. We were kind of given somewhere in there, but honestly, I think we've achieved more than what this was making. I think it's set up pretty well. So, I mean, the end result is here is we made 100. Our next step is to get it off right now, go through it, check everything through. I mean, when you run them here, every nut and bolt, we've got to double check. So it is a solid mounted engine. It vibrates. It's amazing what happens, but this is awesome. I mean, it is great to see something come together. So this has been a really cool project. I hope everyone learned a lot of things. I mean, our important thing is we enjoy doing this. We want to do more. So definitely please comment. Do you want to see more videos? What do you want to learn? What do you want to see us build? So we've got other projects on the plate we're going to start showing you, but we need people like you to tell us what you want to see. So we have got a state-of-the-art dyno facility. You're standing in it between an engine dyno right here. We've got wheel dyno. We'll do some ATV and UTV stuff. We've got our snowmobile chassis dyno. Stuff's gonna be live online. You're gonna see some neat stuff, but please get on there and share what you're looking for. So let's get this thing off, get it packaged up, and get it on the snow. Thank you very much. The end result is here is we made 136 horse, looking right around that 9,000, 9,100 RPM. So, I mean, this is a great machine. It is a solid machine.